I would bet that I was right.
Right.
I don't know if did you hear about the new Bruno? I don't know if I would go Bruno Mars and go 50 million, but I would bet that I was right. Did you hear about the Bruno Mars thing, though?
Oh yeah, I did about $50 million in debt at the MGM Grand.
That's my Filipino
Casino.
boy. Those Filipinos.
Yeah.
They be fucking gambling.
No, but here's what's weird to me. I can't seem to fathom how one would get that deep in the hole. It's just
I don't think it's
at
the
what
hole,
point
though.
do you stop?
So this is the way I see it. I don't really think it's the whole. I think it's like house money. So great example. You know Drake, how he does, he's always betting like $1 million.
Right.
On $1 million on this fight. And he loses like every time. He's got to be like.
He's had some wins. But he's lost a great deal.
Yeah. In the hole too.
Yeah, he's had a great deal of losses.
But the reason that he's able to do it because he has the stake deal.
Right.
So it's not even his money. It's like house money that he's gambling with.
Because if you're advertising for the company, then they kind of pay. Cause
they give you stake gives them like, oh, we'll give you $20 million cash. We'll also give you like $50 million to gamble with.
Right.
So he could be in the hole $50 million. It don't matter.
It publicly it looks that way, but then you're not. But the only thing that I would say with Bruno Mars, where it's a little bit different, is if it's like virtual gambling, then that's one thing. If you're physically inside. If you're trying to, I guess, get high rollers to go and also continually play, that's one thing. But if you're individually losing, I don't see how a stake deal can
Bruno
work.
Mars, he has a residency.
No, he does, but where he's bringing in about like 90 million annually. But then as all these things work, you get a percentage of whatever that may be. So let's just say if you're paying for all the different production, you have to cover all the different employees, you have your own team and all the other stuff. But it all depends.
Bruno Mars could look at it as like, okay, 90 million, I get the fucking best suite at the MGM.
Right.
I get to gamble. For him, it's like a free life, pretty much. The way I look at it, it's like I get all this shit, and I get to gamble, and it's all tax write-off if I lose anyway. Like,
well,
he could theoretically
to a certain degree, because with the 50 million, I mean, there's still going to be 50 million one way or another. There's only so much that you can mess around and write off. Like, because you could write off a ton of different business expenses, but if you're doing this solely,
well, can you write off gambling expenses?
Not if it's for work. Like, if he does have a deal like that, to where they're funding him to go and play, to a certain degree, you can.
Well, I think what they're doing is they're fronting the money. So he like gets the gamble, and he's like, "Yo, I'm Bruno. I got a $900 million deal with the casino." They front you because there was a report about like Drake with it was like Caesar's Palace too. Like Drake, he owed them $10 million, but that's because they front you the money when you have a residency.
Right.
So when I saw that, I was kind of like, it makes sense because the dude's Filipino. He got caught with a bunch of coke. He's a rock star.
Wait a minute. Hold on, that's a crazy.
Dude's a rock star.
Well, yeah, but then still, you're in a position to where you still owe, like you still got to pay back.
I mean, but if they technically owe you 90, you owe them 50.
You would look at it like, yeah, it halves out, but that's assuming that he has the deal, and there still would be a bit of.
He has a residency.
No, he does have a residency, but it's all about if they are funding the situation to where you can go and gamble.
Yeah.
Then that makes sense. But if in the event they're not, and he's going on his own volition, now I don't want to say you're fucked because you're able to generate that money anyway.
I think when people look at it, they assume that it's gonna be like, hey, he's going and taking his money and then gambling.
Right.
In reality, I think it's closer to like, hey, it's fucking Bruno Mars. We'll front him all like the gambling stuff, and then we'll sort it at the end. I think that's really what it is. So because of that,
maybe. And then now they kind of have, like with the MGM, they came out, they were talking about it's not really he doesn't owe that much or whatever. But Shannon Sharp on his podcast, he was talking about how he knew a high roller who said he watched Bruno Mars lose 17 million or watched somebody lose 17 million. I believe he said Bruno Mars. So don't quote me on that. But one way or another, I mean, hey, if you've got it to where you can go and risk that much, then by all means. But me personally, that's set 50 million. You can't have no real friends.
That's so far. So you look at Bruno Mars, he's probably worth like 300 M's.
Yeah, it's like 175, I think he's
worth 175?
Yeah, I think 175.
He has a $90 million residency. Because the only reason people take these residencies is because the fucking money is disgusting.
Right.
Because think about it, like if you have. The reason residencies work so well, like Adele, we're talking about Adele.
Yeah.
Think about how much foot traffic you're bringing into that casino and how much that casino is making just because they have the Adele residency. Yeah. Now they're selling Adele tickets for like 20 grand. Yeah. It don't matter because
she was making about like 920 something thousand per show. I think Usher was making between 600 grand to $1 million per show. Ton of people who go to Vegas, like even when Britney Spears was there, she was probably bringing in, I think, about like 500 grand or something per show.
Yeah.
So it's always a situation where it's a cash cow. You got a ton of money that's coming in because there's a shit ton of money in Vegas. I was just there this past weekend. It's ridiculous.
Vegas. So I'm Filipino too. I'm like Bruno Mars. Every time I go to Vegas, I go 50 million in debt. Not 50 million. Every time I go to Vegas, I've lost some fucking. I went to Vegas one time and I was down like 7, 8 grand.
Good Lord.